A cold breeze sweeps through the dimly lit street. The fluorescent glow of a convenience store sign flickers, casting eerie shadows on the pavement. Detective Cole Parker rests a hand on his canine partner's harness, feeling the steady rise and fall of Ghost's breath. Years of training together have sharpened their instincts, their bond unshakable. But tonight, something feels off. A sudden crash. The store's glass door swings open with force. A masked man bolts out, desperation dripping from his every move. In his grip, a gun. His hands shake, his eyes dart wildly. Then they lock onto Cole. A fraction of a second. That is all the time left between order and chaos. The gun rises. A finger twitches on the trigger. Ghost lunges. His muscles coil, years of training culminating in a single, explosive movement. A gunshot splits the night. Did Ghost reach in time? Did Cole survive? In the next few moments, everything will change. The sharp crack of the gunshot fades into the night, but its impact lingers in the heavy silence that follows. Cole lies on the pavement, breath ragged, heart pounding. Ghost stands over him, ears pinned back, eyes locked onto the suspect now sprawled motionless on the ground. The canine's instincts had been flawless. 1 second later, and the bullet would have found its mark. Backup arrives in a flurry of flashing lights and shouting voices. Officers rush in, securing the scene, but Cole's focus remains on Ghost. His partner had saved his life. Again. Days later, the precinct buzzes with quiet admiration. Cole and Ghost's names circulate in every conversation, their story spreading, beyond just the force. But beneath the surface, something is wrong. Ghost is not the same. At home, the once unshakable bond between them feels fractured. The dog who had spent years at his side, who had trained, fought, and nearly died for him now seems distant. Commands are met with hesitation. Eyes that once glowed with familiarity now carry a flicker of something else, uncertainty. Cole kneels beside Ghost, reaching out, his voice steady. "It is just us, buddy." Ghost does not move. The realization is slow, creeping in like a bitter wind. The dog who had saved him no longer recognizes him the same way. The department calls it trauma. Officers whisper about how even the best K9s can change after a close call. Some say it is temporary, others are not so sure. But Cole is not ready to accept that. Not yet. Determined, he starts from the beginning. The old training routines, the scent exercises, the familiar tug-of-war games. Each movement is deliberate, each word carefully chosen. But Ghost remains hesitant, as if something deep inside him has shifted. One night, Cole sits on the floor of his living room, a familiar object in his hand, a battered old chew toy, Ghost's favorite, worn from years of late-night play sessions. He rolls it across the floor. The dog watches but does not move. Then, the slightest flicker, a twitch of the ear, a brief glance. It is there, buried under the uncertainty, the hesitation, the Ghost he once knew. But will it be enough if Cole cannot rebuild their bond? Ghost may never work in the field again. And worse, the unspoken fear lingers. If Ghost does not trust him anymore, what happens the next time danger comes knocking? Days turn into weeks, and the distance between Cole and Ghost remains. The once unbreakable connection feels fragile, like a thread stretched too thin. Every training session, every attempt to rekindle what was lost, is met with hesitation. Cole whistles, a sharp, distinct note that once made Ghost snap to attention. The canine's ears twitch, his head tilting slightly, but there is no immediate response. A second passes before he moves, slow and unsure, as if the command is familiar but distant. Cole clenches his jaw. Progress. But not enough. At the precinct, Ghost follows orders, sits, stays, tracks scent trails, but there is something mechanical about it. he responds, but not with the same fire, the same trust. Other officers notice. Maybe he just needs more time, one says. Or maybe he is done, another mutters. Cole forces himself to ignore them. He refuses to believe this is how it ends. 1. Night, exhausted from another fruitless training session, Cole slumps onto his couch, rubbing his temples. His gaze falls on an old photograph on the coffee table. A younger Ghost, tongue lolling out in a rare moment of playfulness, his paw resting on Cole's knee. It had been taken on their first assignment together, tracking down a missing child in the woods. The memory rushes back. The rain had been relentless that night, turning dirt paths into muddy rivers. Every second had mattered, the missing boy's life hanging in the balance. Cole had been losing hope when Ghost had suddenly stopped, nose to the ground, tail stiff. Then he bolted, through thick underbrush over fallen logs, ignoring Cole's calls. Then a faint cry. Ghost had found him, cold, scared, but alive. That had been the night Cole realized something. Ghost was not just a partner. He was family. Cole exhales slowly, snapping back to the present. Across the room, Ghost lies curled on his bed, eyes barely open, watching. Does he remember too? The next day, Cole decides to push further. Instead of their usual drills, he takes Ghost somewhere different, the park where they used to train before their first deployment together. It is quiet, the air filled with distant laughter and rustling leaves. He unclips Ghost's leash. For a moment, the dog stands still. Then, without thinking, Cole jogs ahead. You coming or what? A flicker of something. A memory. A habit buried beneath hesitation. Ghost moves. Slowly at first, then faster. His muscles remember before his mind does. Soon he is running beside. Cole, just like he used to. For the first time in weeks, there is no hesitation, no doubt. Cole stops, breathing hard, and looks down. Ghost is staring up at him, tail wagging slightly. Not much, but enough. But just as hope begins to settle, a painful reminder shatters it. Later that evening, Cole visits the precinct. Another officer, Davis, is laughing as he kneels beside Ghost, scratching behind his ears. And Ghost, he is leaning into it, tail thumping, eyes bright with recognition. The way he used to look at Cole. A sharp sting of jealousy. Why him? Why not me? Ghost had never been quick to trust others. He had always been Cole's shadow, his partner. But now, it is as if the roles have changed. Cole swallows hard, turning away before anyone sees the frustration on his face. What if he never comes back? What if I lost him forever? A storm brews in the distance. The sky, once clear, darkens with rolling clouds. The precinct is quiet tonight, the usual chatter replaced by the distant hum of rain tapping against the windows. Cole sits alone in the training yard, his fingers gripping Ghost's old chew toy, the same one the dog had ignored for weeks. Ghost lies a few feet away, watching but distant, his body relaxed, yet detached. He is here, but not really. Cole exhales, staring at the toy in his hands. His grip tightens. He saved my life. I cannot give up on him now. Tonight there are no commands, no training drills, just silence. And then, Cole does something he has not done in a long time. He leans back against the wall, tilts his head toward the sky, and whistles, not a command, not an order, but a song, a slow, familiar tune. Ghost's ears twitch. Cole keeps whistling. It is the same tune he used to hum during long stakeouts, the same melody that filled their quiet nights on the road, when it was just the two of them, waiting in the dark. Ghost blinks. His breathing changes. A flicker of something deep inside, buried beneath weeks of hesitation, and then he moves. It is not immediate, it is not dramatic, just a small shift, a hesitation before his paws push against the ground. Slowly, cautiously, he steps forward. One step, then another. His eyes, once uncertain, lock onto Cole's. Recognition. Something inside Cole tightens, his chest heavy with a mix of relief and disbelief. "That is right, buddy. You remember, do you not?" His voice is barely above a whisper. Ghost takes. Another step, then another, until he is right there, pressing his head against Cole's chest. Cole swallows hard. His hand trembles as he lifts it, gently resting it on Ghost's back. The dog does not pull away this time. He stays. The storm rumbles above them, but neither moves. Then, Ghost's tail wags. Not much, just a small, hesitant movement. But it is enough. Cole laughs, an exhausted, shaky sound. He buries his face into Ghost's fur, gripping the dog like he might disappear again. But he will not. Not this time. It is not perfect. It is not as if everything is suddenly back to the way it was. There are still cracks, still wounds that need healing. But in this moment, none of that matters. Because Ghost remembers. And for the first time in weeks, Cole knows, with absolute certainty, so does he. The rain has stopped, leaving behind the crisp scent of damp earth. The storm may have passed, but its presence lingers in puddles along the pavement and in the fresh chill of the night air. Cole stands outside the precinct, watching Ghost sniff the ground, ears perked, tail swaying. Slightly, not the tense, uncertain movements of the past weeks, but something more natural, more familiar. The dog is not the same as before. But then again, neither is Cole. Their journey has changed them both. Ghost may never be the canine he once was, and maybe that is all right. Maybe the real victory is not in getting back what was lost, but in learning to move forward. Cole kneels beside him, rubbing a hand over Ghost's thick fur. "You really scared me back there, you know that?" His voice is lighter now, carrying traces of the old warmth. Ghost does not respond in words. He never has. But his eyes meet Cole's, steady and unwavering. The silence between them no longer feels empty. A week later, the precinct holds a quiet ceremony. Officers gather, nodding their respect as Cole and Ghost receive commendations for bravery. The headlines tell the story. Canine saves officer in armed robbery. But the real story, the one no one else sees, is the battle they fought afterward. That night, back at home, Cole tosses Ghost's favorite chew toy across the room. For the first time in weeks, Ghost does not hesitate. He leaps forward, catching it mid-air, his tail wagging freely. Cole laughs, shaking his head. It is not perfect, but it is enough. Healing does not happen all at once. Some wounds never fully close. But trust, real trust, finds its way back, piece by piece. And as Ghost curls up beside him, his breathing steady, his body finally at ease, Cole knows one thing for sure. They may not be who they were before, but they are still partners, and that is all that matters. If this story moved you, if you believe in the power of second chances, loyalty, and the unbreakable bond between humans and dogs, do not let it end here. There are countless stories like Cole and Ghost's, stories of trust lost and found again, of resilience, of companionship that defies all odds. If you want to hear more stories like this, ones that inspire, challenge, and remind us why these connections matter, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you have ever had a moment like this with your own dog, tell us in the comments, what is the most unforgettable thing your dog has ever done for you?